Hi everyone, this is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. Today is video 261 and it's a follow-up, but it's a reveal. I have 3 quilts that I want to show you, and they are the add-on to video 260, which was autumn fences, and now I call it vines on the fence. Number 2 is going to be a red and black boxy t-shirt quilt with a case. And number 3 is going to be a shocking, adorable orchid t-shirt quilt with a case. And it was so funny because yesterday I got ready to look at the number for this and put the date on it to get ready for YouTube. And I said, oh my gosh, a whole month is gone. And I've been gone because I had 3 graduation t-shirt quilts and 3 retirement quilts, and all of them are gone. I'm down to making one t-shirt quilt for a student. So it's really been a busy month, but it has been so much fun because everything was totally different than I was working on. And I always like that saying that the mother of invention, necessity is the mother of invention, something like that. And if you look at this, the very top, let me get it tilted back, you can see the little poles sticking out the top. Well, I've got that great rack under there that I can put my quilts on, but it wasn't long enough for some of the things that I had. So I said, what in the world could I do? And the funny thing was, the other day, I just about threw away those poles that fabric comes on. I said, I have not used those. I'm going to get rid of them. And this morning it popped into my head, so I've got it taped to the rack. And this is the one that was done for the video for 260. And it's so pretty, all the colors. And I really went along with their theme of all the yellows, and I've got everything done except the outer edge, and it's 3 inches. And when you get ready to do that, to me, it's a challenge for me because I don't want, on this one, I don't want to cover the whole 3 inches, but I want it to go with what was on there. And I'm really coming back to vines and flowers, I think, for doing that. And the fun part too was the little yellow boxes, and I made each one of those different. There was 1, there was 2, and it's so nice because I just looked at my book and I said, oh, I like that pattern, and I took off after it. Daisy looking flowers. And then I got taken away and just got over stitching again. I do that. I over quilt lots of places. And then all those rails that run through this quilt, I'm going to show you what I used to do that. First, I want to show you the original quilt, and it's amazing how similar they are. That was the first one, 260. And I thought, now I don't want to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on each one of those rails. I thought about chopping it up into boxes, you know, squares in each one of the rails, and I said that doesn't make sense. So I thought, what's one of the problems that you have with fences? Weeds love to grow up on those, all kinds of things, the wild cucumbers, the other kinds of vines. And so this is what I came up with. And this is one box that's got the 6 boards in it. And my starting was down there on the left. And it's a vine that I put the leaves on as I went. And I traveled up, and then I turned and I put a little loop and then came back down. And it's one continuous, you can see, it goes up and goes down, it goes up and down. And that's about how many times it did. In general, it was about 5 times. So you didn't have to think very tiny, but because of the fabric in here, you can't really tell how many are in each one, and that made it kind of fun. And then when I turned it over and looked at the back, I'm not sure if I can capture that for you. Let's see if I can. I got lucky and I found a material that was just a perfect match to me for the backing. And it's very busy and everything, but it's very quilty. That's a great word in it, quilty, because when you feel of it, all of those little vines that are on there, and in a different light, you can see it, and it's all bubbly. Here's the second quilt, and this is one of the students' graduation from college quilts. And the issue with this one was I only had red shirts and 4 black shirts. And so I tried putting the black shirts in the 4 corners. I tried doing them on the diagonal. And I talked to the girl that I worked with on that this was for. And she said, you know, I think that my nephew would really like it if the 4 black boxes were together in the middle. And so that's where I took off from there. And it's got a really pretty dark gray cambric on the back of it. And it's all quilted and all the sashing's quilted. That's what I'm saying. I get to be an over quilter is what I do. And this one has a case that goes with it. That's gotten to be so much fun for me. See if I get you to see that one. We had an extra t-shirt that had the college on it. And this is the gray material from the back. And this one I made like a pocket bag, a big bag, and then found a gray lining to put inside. And that it's got enough room that you can fold the quilt different ways and put them in there. So that was that reveal. And one thing I want to go back to the fence quilt, because the thread, I was trying to decide what I was going to do. And I found a spool of variegated browns, not real, doesn't go to a real dark brown, but just lights in there. And it really worked well, because then I could just go over every bar and quilt it. Okay, and that was variegated. And this is the third reveal for today. And this has just been so much fun, because look at those colors. And this one's very big because she actually had 20 good shirts. The other one had 16 shirts. And so this is really a good size. And if you look at the edges, I found that when I was cutting the shirts, that about 14 out of 16 had a logo on the back corner or in the front corner. And I said, I can't throw those away. Those are just too neat. So I got that. And then when I got ready to get the material for the quilt, I said, well, this is for a girl. And I said, maybe I'll do flowers. And I said, but I kept pulling away from thinking about flowers. And I took a stack of snippings that I had cut from the t-shirts and got one of every color and stacked them like a ladder. And I took that with me to the fabric store. And as I walked around, I looked for something, and then all of a sudden I got to the place where they had these beautiful shades of pastels with white woven into it. And I held the stack up against there, and it was just perfect. I said, this is it. This is it. And so, and then it's quilted, and it's stabilized. This should last a long, long time. And then I have the bag for it. I didn't want to do the light colored orchid color, the solid. And so as I was walking around, I found a table of material that was so colorful. And I said, that's it. That's what it's going to go in. And then it's like the bag again. And I've got it lined. And I've got the 2 ties up there just to shut the front, just to make it look good. And that was the third reveal. And that's everything I have for today. I want to remind you that all the things that are on YouTube, but then I also want to remind you that Hightower Stitching's on Etsy also, and things that I make that I just want to do for fun generally are the things that go on there. There's crochet things, there's cathedral window pillows and baby blankets and other quilts and things. So I invite you to travel there and visit, because it's fun to look at. This is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. I hope you enjoyed this reveal. I hope to be back on schedule after this week. I've still got one more quilt in a box that's got to be done, but she really didn't want it till Christmas. That's what she said. So we'll find out if that's true. Please subscribe and hit like if you liked anything or saw something that you might do.